Advanced manifesting. What does that look like? I mean, is it even a thing? Can you really be so adept at it that you get your stuff faster, quicker, better than anyone else? It's a really good question. And that is exactly what we're going to be exploring today on this episode of Flowdreaming. So stay with me as you figure out what I believe advanced manifesting actually means. Flowdreaming.
It's a show where we talk about the power of your mind to change your world around you, to literally affect the fabric of your reality. We talk about this feeling of hope and joy and relief. And that is what being aware of your flow does. It gives you a feeling of power again in your lives. Breathe. I'm Summer McStravick, and welcome to another episode of Flowdreaming.
Right, so you already know, if you listen to this show at all, that my understanding of manifesting, law of attraction, all of this is a little bit different. We position it in terms of flow. The flow of energy, the flow of emotion, the flow of our lives forward through time. So manifesting is not something where you're simply saying, I am going to close my eyes and wiggle my nose and ding, there it is in front of me. Manifesting is not a order up something from the fast food kitchen on demand and just, the fries slide across the counter, and the better you get at ordering, the more fries you get. No. Manifesting and co-creating is really much more about you becoming adapted to the flow and rhythm of your life in such a way that you have changed so beautifully inside that everything that's outside of you can't help but match, align to what's going on inside you. So this means that someone, for instance, who goes around with a lot of negative thinking all the time. Oh, and we all know who those people are in our lives, but they're constantly, I don't know, that's not going to work out. Or I don't know, you ought to have a fallback method for that. Or, just money is always so short and there's never enough. And yeah, I'm just not going to try for that job because I really doubt it. And I already feel so depressed around, right? Just this constant spew of like, really, why do you ask for my help if you never take it, right? That's that person. When you look at their lives, you kind of you're like, I love you, but I see why everything is just kind of falling apart. I see why everything is just at this really low base scarcity survival level because you generate this constantly. And God forbid, don't get in an argument with them. Because if you point that out, they're going to say, but if everything in my life was better, I wouldn't feel this way, right? They're waiting for the life to get better so that they themselves can be less negative and feel better. Well, my fellow flow dreamers, we all know that that is exactly the wrong direction, right? Your life is responding to you. If you're always responding to your life, you have made yourself so completely gutted, just powerless. And no fault on you if the person I'm describing is you right now, not someone you know. If we've never been shown or taught a different way, or gosh, if we come from a family where that's just the talk of the house. I mean, that is the way that we all speak and feel and think, and we prepare just to get by. And if something beautiful happens, it's like a blessing, but we don't expect it. What I mean by opposite is when you change inside, life around you changes outside. Think of it like birds of a feather flock together, or like attracts like. When you're a positive person, when you're an upbeat person, when you're filled with beautiful expectation, when you're filled with trust of others, trust for the universe, trust in your own heart, trust in your own dreams, right? That inspires confidence. It inspires action inside of you. It inspires all of life around you to say, we're going to match that. We're going to align to that. That's who this person is. And this is what they expect, and create around them as a result. And if you're waiting for life to do it for you first, what ends up happening is you stay in that negative mindset. You stay in that negative flow, that negative energy, and life responds in kind, right? Imagine that life is going to serve up whatever you're constantly generating and requesting. So life is now serving up the negativity that you're anticipating. It's giving you exactly what you want and expect. This is not a pie in the sky recipe. You don't just magically overnight say, everything is wonderful. I have $1 million. I'm happily married and in love. And, I live on a tropical island and my health is completely wonderful. This takes time. And this is what's leading us into this conversation of what is an advanced manifestor. Well, I've been practicing flow dreaming, my method for creating, my method for reshaping myself. I'm reshaping my emotional self. It's like some people meditate because they know that it's actually reshaping the neurons, the pathways in their brain. Flow dreaming for me is doing the same thing. It's reshaping the emotional pathways that were ingrained in me, perhaps even that I was born with, nature and nurture. So that I end up in a place where day to day, I'm feeling happier, feeling less stressed, feeling more positive, more expectant. I'm more willing to be fearless and take a positive risk because I'm more in a state of knowing that I'll recover, because I always do. And I need to take those risks to really move my life in a powerful way, as opposed to just letting things happen. So as this practitioner of flow dreaming, and if you don't know what it is, please run on over right now to flowdreaming.com. Just, bring it up in your phone or your computer, wherever you're listening to this. And there's going to be something right there saying, go get a free kit that teaches you how to flow dream. And it really is a full-on tutorial. I mean, it's a mini course, very fast to learn, really fun to do. And it's a fantastic introduction into this world. So go grab that. But getting back to advanced manifesting and my lead up to this, which is I've been doing this for a long time. What I've noticed is that when I'm doing this practice of changing myself, essentially, there are a few hallmarks, right? There are a few things that I've noticed are stepping stones or, grade levels you pass in terms of complexity, in terms of awareness, in terms of just practice, when practicing anything. Little kids don't somersault, quickly or cartwheel quickly. They try and they try and they try, and then they get to a certain level of ability, and then they get better and better. And well, unless you're me, who could never really do a cartwheel. But you know what I'm saying. So I'm going to go over these 4 indicators of what advanced manifesting kind of feels like and looks like. So you can see in yourself like, I'm on the way to mastery of this one. Or, oh, I never even thought about that one. And before we go any further, I do want to thank one of our listeners. She posted in my I Love Flow Dreaming group, which I am in often, asking for your suggestions and feedback and so forth. So Melissa Arguletta, thank you for this idea. Excellent show idea. Okay, so leveling up your manifesting, your co-creating, your flow dreaming, whatever you want to call it, your abundance thinking, so many different ways of saying this, is firstly about consistency. Yes, consistency. It means you're doing some form of daily practice. Daily practice. Think about all the things you do every day that are not even that important to you, but you do them. Like most of us brush our teeth every day. And I know for some of us it's really important, but really, And Imagine, yes, you brush your teeth to keep them clean and shiny and make your breath smell good and make people like you and not avoid you. But compared to getting into a practice where every day you're spending 5 or 10 minutes telling your life, showing your life, describing, feeling in your life, this is who I am, this is what I'm receiving, this is where we're going. Wow, I mean, that is leagues above brushing your teeth. Because you're taking power in those 5 minutes. You're telling your day, you're telling your higher self, you're telling all the other energies of existence, you're telling your future, this is what I want to feel, this is where we're heading. It goes from being something that's kind of presumed inside you, never spoken, and often kind of wishy-washy and not really pinned down, into something that is a bright, burning light. And what does a bright, burning light do? It casts light on everything. So this consistency means I flow dream like every day. Some days when I'm really busy, I do it for a few minutes. Or I go in and out of it through the day whenever I find myself in a lack thought. I subtly correct it and flow the opposite. Or maybe I play a flow dreaming MP3, a flow dreaming audio track, right? And let myself be moved by it. But I do it. Advanced manifestors have done it and 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 done it. And that's how you get good at everything, right? That 10,000 hours. What was that book? 10,000 hours to become an expert. 10,000 hours in flow. You know what? I think I've done my 10,000 hours. I truly have. Don't let it be daunting. Start today. That's number one. I mean, just straight up practical. Do it. Number two. Advanced manifestors. People who really are the ones who are always, you're looking at them and you say, every time you have a goal, you do it, you get it. Like how? How do you do that? Advanced manifestors, these people, understand that experimentation is also vital to the process. In other words, when you move into flow and you're moving into your emotional endpoints and you're getting into this rich, deep feeling, this is who I am, flow. I'm in this flowing alignment, this state of utter, total positivity, broadened great awareness. I'm communicating with non-physical. This is all part of flow dreaming, folks. There's also an aspect of allowing the new, allowing experimentation, trying different things. You guys ever wonder why, if you've ever actually do have some of my flow dreams, every time I take you in a different way, like into the flow, I try all different things. We really play around. Sometimes you're flowing in the stars with me. Sometimes we're on a boat. Sometimes we're walking on a path. Sometimes we are in a beautiful desert. Sometimes we're in a forest. Sometimes we're in a waterfall. I mean, whatever comes to me, I play with it. And every time I do a flow dream with an individual, say I'm doing a private session, which I've been doing lately, I'm stunned at how their flow, their life, their field of energy, the quantum information of who they are describes to me that place or feeling that makes them feel most in alignment. And I have to say it. And sometimes it's pretty exciting and different and unusual. And there have been many times when after I've done a flow dream with someone, for someone in their world, in their flow, I've said to them, you know what? I loved what I saw so much. I'm going to write that down and do it for myself because I've never seen that before. I free myself to experiment and be open to what I see, to how I feel. When I first started flow dreaming, I simply went up into the sky. I went up into the blue and beautiful sky. I floated on clouds. I went above the clouds into a place that suddenly felt different. Now, I could have said that's the one way and the only way. Everyone must do it that way. But I didn't, because I've been experimenting ever since. Experimenting also means you try it at different times of day. You try it when you're sleepy. You try it when you're vibrant and awake in the morning. You try it when you have a real clear idea of how you want to feel. You try it when you're all muddy inside and don't know. You're learning every time you do it, every time. And when you learn something and it feels right, you put that inside yourself and go, I just up-leveled something. That added something to my power. That worked. That felt good. That was right. Experimenting day after day, week after week, year after year. What this leads you to is your most powerful place, your most powerful feelings, as well as a whole bunch of other information, like when you do it best, when you need it the most. You just know. Next thing in our little list here of what advanced manifestors do. All of them have realized the depth of their emotional embrace. I know, that's quite a mouthful. The depth of your emotional embrace. So when you're in flow and when you are describing and feeling and becoming this thing that you're looking to create in your life, you have realized and discovered that it started with perhaps a thing, like solve this problem for me, or get me this thing, this job, this house, this whatever, this boyfriend. You start with a thing. But as you grow and develop, you realize the things actually are often quite interchangeable. It's not the thing. You have just chosen a thing because it's going to get you to that emotional space that you're actually truly after. The boyfriend that you chose, you wanted to have, is because your emotional space is, I'm deeply loved, cared for. I'm safe and stable. I'm committed. I no longer worry about this in my life. I have family. I'm loved. That's the emotional thing that you're heading for. You need the new job? Well, it may not be that exact new job. Could be a different job. Could be no job for a while. Could be going back to school. Who knows? As long as it fulfills the emotional endpoint you're looking for. I love what I do. I am in a state of total joy about what I do. I'm so appreciated for what I do. I earn what I deserve and then some for what I do. All of my needs are met with the way that I spend my day. Now that, my friends, is so much better than a new job. And it also means that a lot of things could come and fulfill that for you. Will you let your flow, will you let life help co-create that with you? Your emotional embrace means the degree to which you can feel this. When you're in your practice, how greatly can you feel it? How deeply can you feel it? And I know that this is actually sometimes a struggle for us because we can picture it, but if we've never really experienced it before, it's like falling in love. If you've never fallen in love, you have an idea, you know the feelings, the longing, the desire, but you don't have that titillation yet of that inner bubbling, like losing your mind feeling like, I can't believe this is happening. I just feel like little birds singing all over the world, It's just, If you haven't had that feeling, how do you create that feeling in your flow? Well, fortunately, all of us, we've had a broad swath of feelings over our lives, and we're pretty good guessers. You've read enough romance novels to get a good sense of things. Start with that. Start with the emotion that you can feel, and then allow that to grow and develop. Eventually, when you flow, you are blooming with feeling. You are expanding with feeling. You are the feeling. Feeling's not happening to you. It's not happening in you. You are the feeling. That's really advanced. To be able to become the end result of your desire before you have anything in your life that's actually given you that. right? The other word I use for that in me school is called pre-action, right? Pre-sponding, as opposed to reaction, responding. We do a whole segment about that. And now I'm going to bring you to the fourth, final component that I see people who are really skilled at this doing. They are not falling into lack thinking. And they are, the majority of the time, aware of negative emotion whenever it creeps in. So half the work that I do with my students and my private students, my diamonds, people I work with all the time, is they'll say something, they'll describe something, they'll tell me something. And I say, you know that's a lack statement, right? That's a lack feeling, right? And there's this pause, and they say, oh my God, I never thought of that. I never saw it that way. But once you point it out, you get it. But when you're inside it, it's hard to be that person standing on the outside looking in. It's hard to be in both places at once, right? Usually, often takes someone else saying, that's a lack thought. Because I can hear it, plain as a bell. But advanced manifestors, those of you who get skilled, you start to hear it in yourself. You start to pick up on it. And it's not just things you say. I mean, that's just an obvious way of describing it. You know, when you're saying, oh God, I hope we're not late for the movie. What is that? It's a lack thought. Why are you focusing on being late for the movie? Why are you propelling yourself by the fear and the urgency that this lack thought generates in you? Because that's not fun. How about instead, I feel us being on time, perfectly on time and ready for this movie. I like to be motivated by those kinds of feelings. But you see, it takes seeing it. When it's subtle, and this is the majority of the time, it's not spoken. It's a feeling. And it is a container that prevents you from doing things, going places, expecting things, trying things, receiving things. Because the lack feeling is right there in the way saying, you don't have what you need for that. It's not going to happen. You can't figure out how. You haven't been able to figure out how. And so you stop. And when you stop, you can't co-create. You can't make the next thing. What you're actually telling your flow is, there's a no here. I want something, but I can't have it. And your life looks at you and says, all right, we'll make sure that you know it, but can't have it. Yes, ma'am. Aye, Captain. I was going through this recently with someone that I care about, close friend. And I was thinking, this person, I wonder if they're ever going to get a good job. I just wonder if they're ever going to get through this slump and feel inspired and motivated again. I'm not seeing it happening. And I'm really worried because it's creating so much pressure and it's stressing me out. And I just don't know how things are going to go. I'm so worried. I just don't think they'll do it. I wonder how I can get them to do it. I wonder how I can make that. You see, and I just started, I had been rolling this around in my head, around and around and around and around and around. And then one day I realized, actually it took someone pointing it out to me, to be honest, but I realized I actually have gotten so discouraged about this person's desire to find a good job, that now I'm planning for them to never find a good job. I'm planning around them. I'm thinking, well, what are they going to do when this happens? And what are they going to do when they can't? What's going to happen to them? What adjustments? What cutbacks? What, how are they going to manage? And I realized the problem I had been solving for them was, how are they going to live on less? And I completely lost sight of the opposite feeling. This person is talented, bright, and just needs to feel reinvigorated. And they just need a beautiful opportunity to come and shake them out of it, because they are incapable of finding it themselves right now. But they need something. They need something to step in, shake them out of it, and help them turn. That's what I'm flowing for them. That's what I'm creating. So you see, I got into a lack frame of mind. Didn't even know it. Lack. Until I realized, wow, I am definitely not wanting to focus on that. I am definitely not wanting to give them that energy. I'm doing them a disservice every time I do. Instead, I see them catching fire again, reinventing themselves. And this is what I see and feel around them. So these are examples of how this lack thinking is masquerading in your entire life. This means that if you are really a person who seems to be creating effortlessly with like no resistance, it means your lack thinking is really, really low, which is fantastic. That's exactly where we want it to be, really low. And sometimes we go through long phases like that, and then it will creep in again, especially if we're getting more successful and we hit some kind of ceiling where we say, oh, I can't do any more than that. And then we'll move into a new cycle of lack. That's normal. But if you're advanced with this process, you recognize it. So you can kind of see here, I'm describing a certain kind of personal growth, right? It's the personal growth that I follow because for me, it is the hands down most effective method when I'm focusing on these things in my life and in my own personal growth. It's almost like this just popped in my head. I've had experience with cognitive therapy, where you can take a person through exposures. Some of you know that my family, one of my children, has pretty severe OCD, among other things. So I've been through lots of exposure therapy, cognitive therapy. It's a constant thing. And one of the things it does is it retrains you. It retrains your thinking, and it breaks your resistance. It breaks the rituals that people with OCD have created that make them feel comfortable. It breaks them. And the kind of personal growth I do when I'm in flow is kind of like a softer form of that. I am breaking resistance. I am snapping lack thinking in half by simply becoming aware of it and understanding that's not what I'm making. That's actually not what I'm intending to make. But seeing it is half the battle. Just like with OCD, seeing the ritual and understanding the root of it and the reverse of it is also half the battle. So I probably could keep going if I had given more prep time to this show. And believe me, I gave a considerable amount of time. This is something that it's book worthy. Advanced manifesting, flow dreaming, advanced flow dreaming, right? Maybe it'll be something I put out. Actually, it's not a bad idea because it really does deserve that kind of fleshing out. But for those of you who are feeling right now like, you know what, I get all this. I've been practicing this. I've been following, a lot of teachers who teach this. And I know that most things are going really well. There are still some times, though, when I can't make it work, or there are still some areas where it's not budging. You are in a perfect position to start applying these ideas that I just gave you. Consistency, experimentation, depth of emotional embrace, and being aware of your negative emotion when it creeps in. If you just start playing with those 4 ideas, I know you're going to see movement. I know it. You couldn't not see movement because all of these are not things that you ever actually master. Greater consistency, you can always be more consistent. Experimentation, that means it is by definition continuously freshening, new, growing, evolving. Depth of emotional embrace, you can always feel more deeply. You can always become what you're after to a greater extent inside you. And lack thinking, I don't know that there's a single one of us who can go through an entire day with not a single lack thought. So just applying these 4 ideas is a 10-year plan for you. For me too. But that is, for some of you, truly your next step. And if this is reaching you, please do it. You're ready. You hear it. You're jumping for joy right now saying, oh my God, thank you for this reminder. And maybe only one or two of these things is speaking to you. Then do those 1-2 things. Whatever speaks to you. You're here. You showed up for it. You've been asking for your growth. It's no wonder you found this particular episode. Here you go. Here's your next step. All right, my friends. I love you all. I'm going to give you a final little recommendation. If you loved today's theme and topic, I'd love you to go to flowdreaming.com. I have a flow dream called Supercharged Manifesting. And the whole point of it is to help you escalate and take your flow dreaming, take your ability to make and create in your life to the next level. It works deeply with your emotions to kind of free you up. It's highly, highly, highly recommended. The other thing is, of course, Me School. Oh, friends, Me School is changing. It has changed, and it is flapping its new wings, half the length, half the price, more in the style of a certification program. For all of you who always wanted it, this is now the time. It's been 6 years, and it is time for you to come back in and explore. It could very well be within your range at this point, and I really look forward to talking with you, bringing you in. Me School has been the catalyst for hundreds of people now who have completely changed their lives. They've made those transitions. They've up-leveled. They've gotten raises. They've gotten married, they've gotten divorced, they've made the move. Oh, they've got the papers and diplomas. It's phenomenal. I just can't say enough about it. And if you're interested in that, of course, reach out. You can always email me, summer@flowdreaming.com, or of course, just go to my website and you'll see Me School information right there. Okay, my friends, I'm going to see you next time for another episode of Flow Dreaming. Until then, lots of love and go get 'em. I want to take a moment to tell you about Me School. Now, of course, you can look all of this up on the website at flowdreaming.com. Look up Me School, and the whole thing will be written out for you in great and glorious detail. But as long as you're here and you've just been listening to this episode, maybe the thoughts crossing your mind. What would happen if I really learned all of this flow dreaming stuff? What would happen if I gave myself some personal growth on a really stepped up level? What would I be capable of? Where could I go? Most of my Me Schoolers enter Me School not exactly knowing where they want to go. And that's mistake number one I want you to avoid. You don't have to know what you're trying to create for yourself. If you've been through a transition recently, or you're even just looking at the next decade of your life and thinking, what's going to happen in it? Well, I'm here. We're here because that's what we specialize in. Showing you, helping you, pointing you, where you can say, I know how I'm going to feel in that decade. And I know some of the things now that I want to add in. We take you from a place of being stuck and not knowing into a place of total, powerful clarity, of excitement. You are raring to go. And maybe that's a feeling you haven't had in a while. Well, it's still there. It's hiding, and I know how to get it back. So come join me. Come visit. We are a beautiful, vibrant, loving, intimate community of very powerful, accepting creators, seekers, and dreamers. We make things happen. You will be intensely surprised by the quality of people who are around you. And why? Because I spend my time with you for a whole year. And I'm picky. I am. Which means that everyone in Me School is a choice cut, man. They're the top. They're the best people. Doesn't mean they're the biggest in their careers or this or that, but they're good people. And they're people who do the work. and they're generous people, and they're loving people. They're the people I want to hang out with. And I'm inviting you to come in with us. Because over the course of the year, we're going to talk together every month, multiple times a month. You're going to be learning things. You're going to be testing things, trying things. I have hundreds of techniques that I teach you. And we go over them together. And they will reveal you and unfold you to yourself in a way you have never seen before. So please come join me. At least get on my schedule to talk to me. I open up times throughout my work month where I talk to potential new students, and it's gentle. We just discuss, hey, are you ready? Are you almost ready? Maybe you're not ready. We'll find out. But it's good to call, and it's good for us to talk because it puts it on your radar, and it's the first step in your commitment to yourself. So I invite you to go to flowdreaming.com, swipe to it on your phone or go on your desktop, and go ahead and set up a time and let's talk. I can't wait.